Stars, Episode 1. There comes a moment in the life of every star when it decides that it is time to fall. Not because it grows tired of floating through space, and not because it becomes bored among the billions of stars that keep it company. In fact, although it may not seem so, the shining beacons above us remain quite busy throughout their existence. It is an unspoken rule that, in order to live, a star must constantly cultivate its own light. And to do that, a star must continue to reveal the essence of its happiness without pause. Some stars cultivate their light by singing songs that travel across the entire universe, reaching even the most hidden and distant planets. Others decide that their jokes can sustain the most spectacular show ever witnessed by curious extraterrestrial populations. There are stars that can navigate so effortlessly through fields of meteorites that even our most decorated marathon runners would fall behind before they could even blink. There are stars that heal fatal wounds, broken hearts, and shattered voices. Every star has its place up there on the great screen of the cosmos. But what happens when a star begins to long for the untamed and unpredictable life of planet Earth? There comes a moment in the life of every star when it chooses to fall, deeply and dangerously. Why? Not even the star knows exactly. Perhaps out of curiosity, or perhaps it has gazed for so long at the blue sphere in the vast and majestic nothing that it has fallen in love with everything the small planet seems to hold. Compared to other planets, this one was much smaller, insignificant, and unaware of the life that quietly and invisibly pulsed around it. Strange, the star whispered to itself. It did not understand what drew it in so strongly. For years, it had watched countless planets filled with all kinds of organisms and forms of life. This planet was nothing special, and yet several days had already passed since it could no longer cultivate its light. Its thoughts drifted there every time to that same place. It had become so consumed by the idea of being there, down below among the people of Earth, that it had grown ill. The other stars began to notice how Astra, the star that was losing its light, was fading more and more. "Your place is here," a voice echoed from the left. "You're fading, Astra," the same voice said softly, filled with concern. It was the voice of her friend, the one who had shared that piece of infinity they both called home. Astra smiled. "I know," she replied. "The essence of my happiness, I can no longer find it." Unlike the other stars, Astra did not cultivate her light with the same ease. She loved to tell stories about dreams she woke from in confusion. She loved to improvise and bring to life scenarios she could only access through her mind. Her imagination was her most precious treasure, but also the gold that cost her the most. When she first appeared in space, Astra's light was barely visible. Over time, her flickers turned into flames. Her fire burned brightest when she slept and dreamed of the thousands of lives she could have lived, or when she closed her eyes and pretended to be anything else. But you cannot spend your entire existence dreaming, and Astra understood that better than anyone. While others like her managed to live their dreams, she could only carry hers within her thoughts. Her friend looked at her, even more confused now. She could not understand how Astra could smile while slowly fading into the darkness that surrounded them. She didn't want to lose her. Astra understood her better than she managed to understand herself. I'm going to let myself fall, the star confessed. Don't say such nonsense, the other one scolded her. When a star stops cultivating its light for too long, it falls. It is a painful process to witness because the star never returns to the place it once illuminated, and in its place remains a hungry darkness, ready to swallow anything that dares to enter its emptiness and is not a star. In this way, it could be said that stars are the guardians of space, lighting the path for whatever exists there and dares to venture into the unknown. Astra had illuminated that place above Earth for a very long time, perhaps too long. You said my place is here, Astra repeated almost in a whisper. But I don't feel that, she continued. You are a star. Where else could you possibly be? Another nearby star asked. Astra's gaze drifted downward. There, she answered. Earth, a shocked voice echoed. How could a star ever reach a place like that? Astra knew the answer. Her friend knew it as well. It wouldn't be the first, and it certainly wouldn't be the last, a fourth voice added, leaving the others more confused than before. Astra's attention was now drawn to the small white dwarf star that had casually joined their conversation. My existence is nearing its end. I have been here since before the planet you long for was even born. I have watched stars like you fall by their own will and become part of the planets they once yearned for, unable to continue cultivating their light. Astra froze. Do you mean that down there, right now, while we are here, other stars are living among them? Yes and no. All the stars surrounding the small one were now watching it with the same attention you give to the most suspenseful moment of your favorite film. What do you mean? Asked Spira, Astra's timid friend. It is true that those who chose to fall are now among humans, but they are no longer stars. When you reach Earth, you forget that you were ever a star. A star without its light forgets its existence from before. They are now down there among people and among their kind, yet they are neither one nor the other. They keep their gifts to the essence of their happiness and carry it with them through all the years they manage to live on that planet. But they will never know why they have them. Some are fortunate and live a good life because they manage to continue cultivating their light even after they are no longer stars. The only difference is that the light they once radiated outward, proudly and visibly, is now held within the fragile human body that confines their true identity. Those who manage this live a far more fulfilling life than the one they had here above. Short a life, it is true, but one lived at an intensity that cannot be compared to anything we have known, we who can only watch. And the less fortunate, well, they live an entire human life without their light. They come to know unhappiness at a level we can only imagine. A star does not live the same intensity as those who were born and remained human. For stars, their light is the strongest amplifier. Without it, everything drops below a level where other beings would already be miserable. Do you understand? It goes even lower. And the worst part is that all that time, they will never know what is wrong. When the small star finished speaking, silence settled around them. A silence heavy with the tension of everything that surrounding stars had just learned. Astra's eyes shimmered with an electrifying glow. Some would say it was hope returning to her, bringing her back to life. Others would swear that the glow was fueled by her obsession with the planet, an obsession that, after hearing those words, had reached dangerously high levels. Whatever the case, Astra now seemed to have a plan she would not abandon. Spira, I will go down there too. Her friend already knew. She knew that, after everything she had heard, Astra would only become more determined to follow the purpose that had quietly but surely taken root within her. If Spira had become even more convinced that descending to Earth or to any other planet was something she would never do, Astra felt the exact opposite. Now that she knew it was possible, she would be driven so strongly by the call to leave her current state of existence that she would no longer consider the cost of that decision. I knew, Spira said softly, and I also know that nothing I could say would make you turn back. So I won't try. Instead, I promise you this. I will watch over you the entire time you are gone. And even though you will not remember who you are or me, you will never be alone. Astra felt an immense warmth within her, a warmth shaped like the very light she was preparing to give up in the moments to come. She was grateful for the life she had lived until then, and even more grateful for the friend who had made those years pass so quickly. That was how the idea of the speed of light had come to be, and the two stars deserved the credit for it. As Astra surrendered her control to the cosmos that surrounded her, she began to feel lighter and lighter. Her mass dissolved little by little as she fell deeper and more surely toward the blue sphere. She became less and less visible to the stars above, while Earth became more and more visible to her. What she felt in that moment, however, she could not have explained, not even to herself. It was a feeling that filled her more and more, even as she herself became less and less. She felt how the speed of her fall began to erase her entire existence, along with everything it had ever held, and then, complete darkness.